a client's perspective on financial planning. Welcome to Tea at Taxevity, where you get insights from insiders, our many clients and friends. I'm Pramod Sharma, your actuary at Taxevity. I help people transfer financial risks with life and health insurance. Our guest today is Robert Gignac. He's the author of Rich is a State of Mind. Robert, what do you do when you're not being interviewed?
Thank you for asking, Pramod. When I'm not being interviewed like I am today, I speak to groups and organizations about the concepts of personal financial development and how to create a better life for themselves.
Are you a financial professional yourself?
Interestingly enough, no. I've never worked for a bank, insurance company, mutual fund company, or credit union. I've just been a client of the industry.
Then how did you manage to write a bestseller about personal finance?
Honestly, by accident. It was one of those things where somebody had a good idea. I followed up on that idea. 18 months later, I had a book in my hand, and now it's currently in its 17th printing and 3rd edition.
Congratulations, that's tremendous success.
Thank you, but I don't think that Dan Brown, J.K. Rowling, or the woman who wrote 50 Shades of Grey are losing sleep over my book sales.
Probably not. We know that setting goals is really important. Where do we go wrong in the process?
I think what happens, Pramod, is that we're reluctant to set goals for ourselves because we're afraid if we write it down and commit it to paper and don't achieve it, that somehow we've failed. And failing is one of the worst things we feel that we can do.
Why do we fear failure, though?
I think it's how we are raised for the most part, that we can achieve anything we want, and that when we really tell people and commit to that goal and we commit to the process by sharing it with those around us or our financial professionals, that when we don't measure up to that goal, we cannot handle what from a psychological perspective is cognitive dissonance. We can't handle the fact that we didn't achieve it.
It does seem better to be partway towards a goal than to be at the starting line, though.
Oh, absolutely. But I think for many of us, we don't see that partial completion or 3/4 of the way there as being the actual event. We want an all or nothing approach because, quite frankly, that's what society has kind of evolved to today. You either win or you lose. There's no sort of, well, you almost got there.
Mm-hmm. It seems that when we talk about goals, we talk a lot about the how of the goals.
How is very important, but for me, as somebody who talks to groups about goal setting all the time, the why is far more important than the how. Because think about it from a personal finance perspective. People want to know, where can I invest my money? Where can I get the most return? How can I get the most return for the least amount of risk?
Yeah, and that's generally where the discussions take place, is those kinds of questions.
Absolutely. What I want them to focus on, why are we investing in the first place? Because if we knew and got the goals crystal clear, we may actually determine that we don't need 12 or 14 or 18% return. We can accomplish our goals with 4.8% return and a lot less risk. But that only happens if we exactly know why we're doing this in the first place.
Okay, that makes sense. That, yeah, the why is a good starting point. Do you find that people are able to figure out why they are doing things when they sit down to work on their goals?
We don't, because sometimes we don't want to commit to things we're writing on paper. Sometimes we get swayed by people around us, well-meaning friends and family members who should go, you should want this, you should want that. And all of a sudden we start writing goals for ourselves about timeshares and SUVs and second cars and a pool and a boat. They all sound great, but we have no vested interest in that particular goal. It's only when we determine what it is we want for ourselves that we get truly committed to the process.
How do we tell if we're writing down our own goal or a goal that we've taken from other people, though?
I think one of the best ways to do that, Pramod, is to ask yourself the question with the goal, if I did not achieve this goal, as I've laid it out here, would I be incredibly disappointed if that didn't happen? And if the answer to that is, no, don't really care, then we know that's not a true goal for ourselves. Somebody else has probably mentioned it. We go, oh, that would sound good, but I'm not going to commit to it.
That's a good criteria or criterion. Do SMART goals work?
I think SMART goals are important with one small caveat. And for your viewers who might not be familiar with the SMART goal concept, the concept of SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. And I discussed an entire chapter in the book dedicated to the concept of goal setting. The problem is people use it as a framework for creating goals, and I think it's very good for that. But here's the caveat, that just by using the framework doesn't mean you'll achieve the goal. And I'll offer this as way of example.
Sure.
If you had met me 5 years ago, a slightly different version of myself would be sitting in this chair. So I set a goal for myself on June 1st that I was going to lose 36 pounds by the end of the calendar year. So let's look at the criteria. Specific, 36. Measurable, get on a scale. Achievable, it was June 1st. I had 7 months. 7 into 36, 5 and a tiny bit. Little more exercise, fewer Timbits. Time-based, end of the calendar year.
Right.
Check, 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 check. Well, I was so impressed with what I'd just done, I didn't do anything for a month. So there I was on July 1st, 36 pounds to lose. 36, I was on the scale, measurable, achievable. Well, I only had 6 months now. 6 into 36 is 6, pound and a half a week. Definitely no more Timbits, ramp up the exercise, time-based, I'm on it now. So now we fast forward the calendar to December 17th. And I strode into the bathroom and I stood on the scale and I looked down and went, holy crap, I've got 41 pounds to lose. And for your viewers, you might have caught that I didn't actually lose any pounds. I went up 5.
Right.
Well, let's check out the criteria. Specific, 41. Measurable, I was on the scale. Achievable, 3 pounds a day for the next 14 days. Realistic, no. Time-based, who cares? And I said to myself, how did you screw this up? This is what I do for a living. I talk to groups and organizations about personal financial development, goal setting, creating a financial future. How did you screw this up, Robert? Well, the answer came to me 2 nights later as I was watching my beloved Detroit Red Wings and I had a large bowl of fudge nut brownie ice cream in my lap. And the answer really wasn't what was in the bowl. The reality was, it was never my goal. It was somebody else's goal.
We won't ask who.
I'll leave that to the viewer to sort that out. But since it wasn't my goal, I didn't commit the effort to actually achieving it, even though I told everybody this is what I was going to do. The following January, upon realization that I needed to make this my goal, I'd love to tell you it took me 6 months and it was done. It took me the better part of 2 years, but it got done. When we set goals for ourselves, and I encourage people to do this all the time, be very clear about what you commit to, because if you don't have a clear vested interest in the goal and it's something else that somebody told you should want, regardless of how cool it sounds, you won't commit the effort and you won't accomplish it, and you'll still get mad at yourself because it's on your list.
When it comes to financial advice, do you find that people are eager to go and seek it out?
They're reluctant on a variety of levels. One, we all tend to think, well, I'm smart and I don't need anybody's help. I can figure this out all by myself. And as I tell people all the time, it's not about being smart. It's about having a passion for that particular subject. And for many of us, the concepts of personal finance and investing, and insurance and wills and estate plans and all the stuff that you work with your clients about is not a passion for the vast majority of us, myself included. That's why I use a financial professional. But we balance then that against, well, maybe I'm just not smart enough. It's got nothing to do with being smart. It has to do with focus. Men do not do as good a job at this as women do. Women are happy to seek out help for things they don't know. For guys, it's like, I'm smart enough. I can figure this out. I can go online. I can go to Google. I can go to Bing. I'll sort it out. Yet those very same guys will hire a sports coach, maybe a swing coach if they're a golfer, to help them take 5 strokes off their golf game. It won't make them any money. It won't put them in a better financial position. It won't allow them to play all the golf they want to 20 years from now and never have to worry about how to pay for it. But they're happy to do that versus seek out financial help.
Or they may do things like buy a better drill, even though that doesn't necessarily make a better hole.
Exactly. And it's even the concept. When somebody buys a drill, nobody buys a drill because they want the drill. They buy the drill because they need the holes that the drill creates. And working with a financial professional and committing to goals and a financial plan and maybe changing our behavior, which all of us need to do, and yeah, I'm including myself in that, I still do the occasional dumb financial thing. I haven't figured it out. I'm a work in progress. But when we commit to doing that, then we start to take the tiny steps towards creating a better financial future for ourselves.
What's your key message for the people watching?
I think the key message would be that personal finance is not as complex as you think it is, that acquiring a good basic understanding of basic financial skills, compound interest, goal setting, saving for the future, RSPs, TFSAs, RESPs for your kids, making sure that you're protected with insurance, a will and estate plan in the inevitable case that something does happen to us that we don't foresee, that taking those simple basic steps towards getting that fundamental knowledge will be one of the best things we ever do for ourselves.
What's the best way for people to reach you?
For me, the easiest way is the website for the book, which is www.richIsAstateofmind.com. So it's the book's title, all is one word. You could send me an email at robert@richisastateofmind.com, or if you wanted to give me a call, it's 905-841-0837.
Thanks very much for dropping by, Robert.
Pramod, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us for Tea at Taxevity. The Taxevity Insurance Advisory helps you understand insurance and bridges gaps in your coverage. There's no premium for peace of mind. How healthy is your insurance?